This is your daily reminder that to mix up watching something good with something good, go ahead and watch Princess Tutu. Thank you. This has been your daily reminder to watch Princess Tutu. Well, that's that, Shining said, packing up the last of his stuff into a box. Today was the last day he was with the combined task force. He was given the week off by the CPD in appreciation of what he accomplished. And reported to work a week later, he would be back in uniform as a beat cop.
"Gonna miss you around here, man,"
one of the other agents told him.
"Going to be quiet now that we're getting back to the normal swing of things."
"Yeah, between the kidnappings, the bank robberies, computer fraud, and all that, things are gonna be dull,"
a second agent joked. Hey, I'll take a pure frog over a freak hurricane and 3 teenage serial killers any day, Shining commented. Of course, he knew the full extent of it, but he could never tell them what really occurred. Truth be told, he could hardly believe in himself. Besides, I wouldn't worry about it. Isn't Agent Stark going to be joining you guys?
Nah. The boss offered her a position here, but she said her work down in LA is too critical to leave. So she went back yesterday.
Clownlance said he came back into the area. Hard light gone, Clownlance had been promoted to Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Caroline office.
So we still have a slot open, one for handling unusual crimes.
Crimes like teenage serial killers?
Well, you can't say that's the norm down in homicide at CPD, can you, Shining? Not really.
He had to admit, that was something he was going to miss once he returned to CPD. Well, at least you have Sandy sticking around, right? She told me she wasn't going back to the ECSD.
No, actually, she asked the boss for a favor, and well, I'll let you tell him about it. He wants to see you before you head out.
Cloud offered his hand.
In any case, take care, Shining. Don't be a stranger.
Shining took Cloud's hand and then out of the others. Not in your life. A few seconds later, Shining was knocking on Bass's door. You wanted to see me?
"Oh, hey, Shining, come on in. I was just filling out the last of the paperwork for your girlfriend's request,"
Bass told him.
"But I guess I could take a break for you."
Girlfriend's requests? Shining looked curious for a second, until he realized the senior agent had been talking about Sandalwood, given their close ties. Sandy? She's not my girlfriend. What paperwork?
"Yeah, I know. Well, in any case, she asked me for a favor, one I fortunately could pull off for her."
Bass picked up a folder off the desk and handed it to him.
"Thought you might be interested in knowing."
Shining read it, and a look of bemusement fell from his face. Paragon City, Rhode Island? Bass sat on the edge of his desk and folded his arms.
"Naval Officer Training Command. Apparently, they train naval officers there just like the name says. She wants back in the Navy, it seems. This time she wants to go officer."
Sandy's leaving? I don't think she told me or Katie.
"Yeah, I gathered that was a sudden decision. In any case, I know a guy at NCIS who put me in touch with a guy who knows at NOTC, and I put a good word for her. So they were willing to accept her. I guess anyone who gets shot in line of duty in order to take down a possible terrorist on U.S. soil is what the Navy wants. So I'm not going to argue.
But I
should be thinking about yourself, Shining," Pat said. "Which brings me to my other thing."
He held up a second forward.
"Director Fur Justice and I go way back. Though we always see eye to eye. He hates why I want to stay in the streets instead of taking a job at D.C. Well, I think he does too much bullshit Washington politics instead of cop work. We're good buddies, and I told him I need good agents I can trust to do the job. Because I get the sneaky suspicion that what happened over the summer is just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe I'm crazy, but I get the gut feeling we're going to be up in our ears to X-Files shit. And I need the best I can in order to do my job."
He handed Shiny a folder.
"This is an acceptance letter for the Accelerated Agent Training Program in Quantico. It's for officers from other law enforcement agencies who join the Bureau. You'd be there a month, and while normally, afterwards, you'd be assigned somewhere else. Like I said, I have some pull at the top, so they'll send you back here where I need you."
Shining looked at Bats, awestruck. I don't know what to say.
"Yeah, figure you want to talk it over with fiancé. But I'll need an answer by Friday, as the next class starts up in September. As I'd like you to be back by October when the trial for the Dead Hand Killer starts up. But for now, go ahead and get out of here, and take that vacation CPD gave you. You earned it in spades."
As he drove back to his apartment, Shining thought about the folder and what it could mean. On the one hand, He felt like he owed a duty to CPD. He wanted to keep his promise to Meltani and see that her name would be remembered amongst the ranks of the CPD fallen. On the other hand, the pay of an FBI agent was much better and their beat was much larger. The Camelot field office of the FBI oversaw Northern California, the southernmost stretch of Oregon, and parts of the northern Nevada that didn't fall under Clydesdale field office. But more importantly, he had to protect his family, including his newest sister and cousins. His family now had a secret he couldn't talk about, and he wondered if it was borderline treasonous to hide it from the world. But he wouldn't tell another soul, even if he was obligated to. He cared too much about Sunset and the triplets to do so. They were his sister and cousins and thus family. Family meant the world to him. But Sandalwood was family as well, in a sense. Now she was leaving, and hadn't told anyone why. Had something happened to her? As he pulled into the driveway, he grabbed his cell phone, planning to call her instead. He got a voicemail. "Hey, Sandy, it's Shining. Give me a call as soon as you can. Thanks." With that, he grabbed his box out of the trunk and prepared to take a long-needed vacation. A vacation that this might let him less rested than before, he wondered. "Thanks for coming, Doctor," Crystal Barrel said with relief. "When I called your office, I hadn't expected we would have a conference call. I hadn't expected you to come down for this meeting."
It's not often,
the man said quietly, in a voice that had tons of English whimsy into it.
I find that one with talent such as yours, Dr. Crystal Barrow. I must confess, when I was younger, I might have challenged your husband for your hand.
She giggled softly. "Flattery, Doctor."
"Please, just fix a little. Or may I call you Chris?
"Of course." She smiled at the man who sat across from her at the table. Apparently in his mid-70s, he had the look of a distinguished gentleman that had somehow managed to wander out Brideshead Revisited or some other dusty novel. He carried an intricately carved mahogany cane topped with a slightly polished silver grip, and wore a simple white pinstripe suit with a black tie that further served to enhance the whole downtown Abbey connection. In fact, had it not been for his round black sunglasses hiding his sightless eyes, or the severe-looking young woman behind him was like his primary assistant, Crystal Barrel would have gotten the feeling that the king was more for show, and the man was far sprightlier than he seemed. But maybe that was just his way of showing that despite his disability, he was a mind of stunning intellect, and that much she knew.
I took the time to read the documentation you sent my office. Though, unfortunately, I didn't have time to read all of it, as our tactile reader didn't translate it all in time. Sadly, the environment seemed hooked down.
"My dearest apologies, Doctor," the woman at his side said. "I'll do my best to have it serviced as quickly as I can." Crystal Barrel looked at the woman who had accompanied the doctor, a girl he dressed as Bubbles. Sadly, there seemed to be nothing bubbly about her in the least. For a split second, Crystal Barrel wondered if she thought she saw an older woman in a wheelchair. But then figured she was probably imagining things. "Guess I need more sleep than I thought," she thought.
"It is no matter, Bubbles," Fix told his aide. "Besides, knowing young Chris here, she probably had reports prepared as well."
"Indeed I did," Chris said, handing over freshly printed documents to Bubbles, set them before Fix. "These are my latest reports on the girl." Several minutes went past while the older gentleman read through the documentation, definitely running his fingers over his tactile writing.
"The name Octavia Mility, it sounds familiar for some reason."
"She was that teenage musician that played at the Promising Musicians of the Future Concerto back in May," Bubbles reminded him. "I distinctly recall you said her music reminded her of your youth."
"Oh yes, her. Now I remember," he said with a genial smile. "Youth is so often about spending outdoors with friends, or at least in the comfort of one's own room, boldly engaging in one of those charming video games."
He made outlandish, exaggerated hand motions that Crystal Barrel presumed was the man trying to imitate someone playing games, even though it was clearly wrong. Although that technology is well beyond me. Used to say, the hear one such a melody's caliber and the darkness in her art is oppressive given her age. And it saddens me to see that, like so many other artists, she is playing by the demons in the mind. He tapped her apart. Can you tell me more? Crystal Barrel went over everything in regards to Octavia and her alter ego, and how vastly different the two were. After several minutes, the psychiatrist finished up with, and I can't help but think that Melody persona is one of the chances of how fortunate Octavia has it. If I convince her that they are one and the same, there's nothing to be jealous of. They might unify and she might be made whole. Fix nodded. Given what you said, I'm surprised that there's only one persona. Usually in situations like these, there are at least two more. There was a recorded case in Belgium 35 years ago of a musician similar to Miss Melody who had much the same issue. A single alternate persona who was different from her as could be. I kept up with that case, but sadly, it happened right around the time of my accident, so I couldn't directly be involved with it. What happened there? For a time, it seemed as though Zuatarov, the pseudonym given to the dark personality, was going to take over Witterin, but Miss Witterin had one singular success in her musical career, and that was enough of an impetus to help her push back Sartaros for good. As I understand in the aftermath, she became an accomplished soloist for the Brussels Philharmonic, as well as a wife and mother. So it is possible. All it takes is the guiding hand of a delicate eater, such as yourself, Chris. You're doing exactly what needs to be done. I can't see anything I would recommend as a change. Even the balance of medicine. Fix waved his hand. I've seen far stronger doses used. There's a case ongoing in Cincinnati right now I'm consulting on. I can have my office send you some of your documentation if you like. Well, the doctor in question has prescribed nearly a full gram of aspirin, which you'll recall is the much more powerful, not to mention narcotic variant of medicine. Yes, I will admit that what you prescribed is more than the norm, but I assure you it's hardly alarming. Crystal Barrel breathed a sigh of relief. I'm glad. I was afraid I was going to have to refer this case to Horseshoe Bay. Chris, if I may be frank, do not do that. I've met the people at Horseshoe Bay Psychiatric Center, and while they are wonderful professionals who do their utmost, in my experience, one-on-one care is needed for a case like this. At Horseshoe Bay, Miss Melody would be seen by a group of professionals, none of which will be able to form a singular bond that you can. If you truly care about the girl's well-being, you will continue your efforts with her. I will do what I can when you ask, but I can see you're already on the right path. The rest of the business lunch went by with the two pleasantries. Then Crystal Barrel mentioned her initial work about dead-hand killers in passing, and Fix pressed her for more details, citing professional curiosity. Normally, she would have been rather tight-lipped about a case of that nature, but she inexplicably found herself sharing the more recent developments. Besides, she knew that he would not go public with them, at least not until after the case was over and done with. Flicks listened with interest as she told him of one of the three girls that started talking again, so she didn't mention any names, referring to them as Miss ABC. Made it very clear in any case. After an hour, however, Miss Crystal Barrel had to head off to her next appointment, and spoke none too soon. Doctor, you're bleeding, Crystal Barrel gasped. Indeed, red tears rolled down the old man's cheeks, and he seemed lost in his thoughts for a moment. Oh dear, the old injury must be acting up again, he said in a mournful tone. Bubbles probably passed him a handkerchief. Flakes took it thankfully, starting to dab around his eyes. For a brief moment, the old man's face seemed to change. The skin around his eyes seemed to peel like old wallpaper. For a brief moment, some primal instincts in the Crystal Barrel, long buried by eons of evolution, told her to get as far away from her colleague as possible. The moment passed in less than a heartbeat, however. The old man gave her a charming smile by way of apology. She just had to wonder what sleep-deprived madness had taken hold of her. Zamba's right. I really need to take the week off sometime, she told herself. Bidding her a good day in gratitude for the pleasant company, Vic saw her off. Oh, this sad. Bubbles inquired once the younger doctor was away. Half your parents probably back here look into Octavia Melody connects as well. It might just be another occurrence of demonic possession, just as with the Zardulov case. I remember. The only one who truly figured it out was the Catholic priest, as I recall. And yes, that's why the demon killed him, Vix told her. The demon didn't consider a psychiatrist at all. Of course, he was stupid for possessing a female to begin with. But oftentimes, lesser demons aren't known for their intelligence. The man gave a brutal smile. It makes them easy to kill. But as I was saying, it might be possession. Or as my daughter wants to say, it may be that the girl is, I quote, fucking nuts. Either way, if she's related to the child of the sun, she may be used to us. The girl was not quite a girl, bowed. Shall be done, Grandmaster. Good. Now I shall return home. The sooner I get away from this town and its vapid idiots doing such as our good daughter, the better. You could feel the powerful magic radiating at a distance, a telltale signature of an alicorn. We have other fists to fry right now, and deal with the interlopers in good time. Sable, how could you? Celestia looked at her boyfriend, feeling genuinely betrayed. Tia, was either put them under our control or let them spin out of control on their own. The last thing he wanted was to have an argument with the woman he loved, but it was inevitable. All couples did eventually, and this good issue was as good as any. At least he has adult supervision. Sweetheart, adult supervision is what you do during your day job. I don't think training teenage killers quantifies as adult supervision. Dinner had been so nice, too. Celestia had been so giddy about her promotion that the moment she got home, she started homemade manicotti for the two of them. Now dinner sat on Chuts, cooling due to her spat. Sweetheart, don't sweetheart me. You and the Triples were nearly killed several times in whatever it was that used to be reality. And now you're doing it again, voluntarily? You were there the other day when Sephir and I were talking. Didn't you hear a single thing we were saying? He asked her. I thought we were past this. I don't want to lose you. Tia, look at me. What he did, he went over and gently looked at her face, so that his eyes met hers. Since I met you, I've had to live with the worry that every single day I've never met anyone like you, and it scares the shit out of me. I might come home someday, find out you're gone, and there wasn't a damn thing I could do about it. At least this way I could protect and watch over you, just as you attended when you mentioned Sunset and her friends, right? This isn't about me, Celestia said. That is a lie. I see it is about you. I see you in your eyes. You think the world of those girls, even when you admonish yourself over giving them supposed preferential treatment. You didn't argue about how much you cared about them, because it's true. You care about all your students. But I will argue you love those girls as they were a part of your family. She looked down and then sighed. I hate when you're right. I'll go as far as to argue that because I'm right, it also means you want the triplets safe. Especially given that in this timeline they're nieces of your best friend. That's what I could do if I'm looking over them. I could keep them safe. He leaned forward to kiss her, breathing. I could keep you safe. She returned the kiss as two remained there, kissing each other passionately. When they broke, she blushed and looked down. Bed, now! What about dinner? Just what the microphone is for, sweetie, she said, taking his hand and leaning towards their bedroom. Woo! Ugh. Knight said, that's the second largest hive I've found in the grounds this week. Knight said, Twilight looked up from her magazine. Something up, Dad? Yeah, we seem to be having a larger amount of bees this year than normal. Normally I wouldn't mind, given issues bees have. But you know what kind of trouble your brothers can get into? He went over and picked up his tablet. I'll go see if I can find an apiary that can take care of it. Twilight remembered last summer when Spike unadvisedly threw a rock at a hive and got stung a few times for it. Ask Sunny to relocate in. I'm sure she can mask it away somewhere.
I'd rather an apiary deal with it, if only because of a colony collapse disorder, Knight suggested. While I trust your sister to deal with it carefully and humanely, I don't presume that she has years, if not decades, of expertise in beekeeping.
Yeah, I kinda guess she doesn't either, Twilight said with a smile. It's the same, because I do. Shimmer came as she went downstairs. Really, Shimmy? Twilight asked. Shimmer nodded. My uncle, Nobelize, raises them on his summer chateau in Normandy as a hobby. But when he's not there, his gardener uses it to raise honey, which he sells with full proceeds going to charity. My friends and I spent a couple of weeks at his place, and we learned beekeeping from him. So every so often I go out there with him to help. That's cool. Maybe next time you're in Europe, we could go there and I could show you around. I think you might enjoy it. She then looked at Knight. Mr. Knight, although I do have expertise in it, I don't have the equipment on hand, so calling an apiary would be a good idea. That served as one local.
Well, thank you for the information, Shimmer. It's appreciated.
No problem. So, Twilight asked, looking at their guest, working on your little plan with Rarity and Pinky? Shimmer looked at her with concern. So you figured it out. Wasn't harm. You have the same tails as my sister, and I know when she's up to something. Twilight said with a smile. I'm just not happy that Pinky put you up to this. Rarity, sure, she's a hopeless romantic. Pinky, though, she should know better. The heart wants what it wants, Twilight. Take it from a Frenchwoman such as myself. When you learn to love powerfully, it gets a hold of you and never lets go. My mother felt that way about my father, and only death separated them. And now my mother feels the same way about Sophia, and it's wonderful watching her love. I can only hope that I have the same experience, and since Pinky is your friend, you should support her. Yes, but my sister doesn't love Pinky like that. She's straight. So Pinky's thoughts shouldn't matter, Twilight? Shimmer asked her. If Pinky is your friend, you support her needs. Yes, she's not going to succeed, I'm sure. But maybe she needs this date with Sunny to get her to realize that. Did you think of that? So I sighed. Not really, sus. I know. You love your sister and you want the best for her. But you have these same squirrelings that your friends are with Pinky, am I right? When the other team nodded, Shimmer smiled. I get it. I really do. There is this girl I know back home who really had it hard with me. And by that I mean she was pressing for my affections, even more than Pinky is for Sunny. My friend Beachcomber suggested that I go out of the evening, and that would get the point across. So I did. And we went out on a date, and though I was flattered with the intention, when I got through the evening and I wasn't just interested. Now she's dating another girl from these girls she intends, and we're friends. So I've been where your sister is, and I think she can handle it. Trust me. If your sister is anything like me, she's strong as she looks. Yeah, Twilight agreed. Yeah, okay, you sold me. I'll lay off Pinky. I just don't want either of them hurt. Sarah patted Twilight on the shoulder. You wouldn't love your sister or your friend as much as you do if you did. Besides, it's just a date. What could go wrong? You clearly don't know Pinky, Twilight cried. Cadence and Shiny talked over dinner, especially his concerns. She loved him for that, both for the fact that he admitted to having problems squaring family life with his job offer, and the fact that he was bringing her into the decision instead of making it alone. As they sat on the couch, the boxes of takeout Chinese food spent, she snuggled closer to him. So have you decided what to do? I'll support you in whatever choice you make, hon. And if it means going to Quantico, I could deal without you for a month. She gave herself a soft smile. Besides, the make-up sex and welcoming you back will be worth it.
He kissed her. I'm thinking about it. The pay increase will be worth it, but the chance to spread my wings beyond just CPD area is even more so. Plus, if I have to be honest, I'll also have a better chance to keep my ear to the grindstone, a better way to protect Sunny. I mean, she's done a good job so far keeping a low profile, but she's not going to be able to hide forever, not with her power.
This concerned Cadence. I know. Nancy related what went on at the county jail, and their run-in with Contral Russ and Sunset's eventual appearance. Discussed it between the two, and Contral's own proclamations he would die in police custody, and nothing could stop it.
I'll have a talk with her. I don't like what she did, not one bit. I'm surprised Mom hasn't grounded her for that little stunt.
I'm not sure what your mother could have done in that situation, love. I'm not so sure what Sunny could have done. This sounds like something your grandmother implemented. And we're talking about a being with limited powers. Even as he believes in the rule of law, sounds like her law's got to take precedence over mankind's.
Yeah, well, I still don't like that, even if it's not Sunny's fault. Sunny admitted. It was then there was a knock at the door. I'll get it, he said, getting off the couch. Went over to the door to find Sandalwood standing there, bag in hand. Behind her was Hearts. She had a dour look on her face.
Hey, Sandy,
she said softly. Sandy, where the hell have you been? He asked. I've been trying to reach you all day.
Kate, hearing the commotion at the door, immediately got to her feet. She talked to Hearts earlier and knew what was about to happen. Going to the door, she looked at Sandalwood sadly. This doesn't have to happen, Sandy, Gaines pled. It's a lost cause, Katie, Hearts told her. I know, I tried. See, Dad, Rita agreed, and we're beyond that, and I'm sorry I betrayed you. You didn't. Gaines went over and hugged her friend. Sandalwood flincing in the embrace, but it made the former embrace all the harder. Tears welled in both women's eyes, and Shiny stood there confused.
What's going on? Shiny asked.
I'm leaving for good, Sandalwood said while in Gaines's embrace. I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. I should have done that when my parents moved away and my sister went out to college. But I was stupid. I thought I could handle it.
She looked up and the tears were streaming out of her cheeks.
I was wrong.
Is that why you decided to rejoin the Navy?
She nodded as Gaines let go of her. Best place to run away. I get to see the world again. Maybe find someone of my own. Though that last part is probably the last well. Please don't do this, Sandy, Gaines begged. Please don't do this to yourself. Too late. I already signed the contract. I catch my flight in a couple of hours. The only reason I'm even here is because Hearts insisted on it. But I had to go. Only way I'm going to survive. I can't do this anymore, Katie. I can't.
Shiny looked at Sandalwood. Look, Sandy, I don't know what's going on, but we can fix this. You don't have to go. I can help you.
No, you can't. Least of all you, Shiny. Least of all you.
He looked at her, worried at Sun's features. I don't understand. She explained by going up to him and kissing him, putting everything into it. Tears of regret, shame, and desire rolled down her cheeks, but she forced herself to keep it under control. It then broke it off. Then he punched in his solar plexus, followed by a blow to his jaw, knocking him out.
Sandy!
Keynes cried, running over to her friend's move.
Well, Sandy was sad. That was surprisingly cathartic. She looked at Keynes. Take care of him for me. I have lots of baby babies. Forget I exist. Keynes was now completely confused. Sadie, stop, please. You're being ridiculous. You're my best friend. I'm never going to forget you, okay?
Sandalwood said nothing, but instead walked down the stairs in the direction of Hart's car. Hart looked at Keynes and said nothing, but instead gave her friend an apologetic look, then followed after Sandalwood. With a heavy heart, the young woman wiped away her tears and dragged her unconscious boyfriend back into the house and closed the door. It felt like she was shutting off part of her past when she did that. Or maybe that was growing up and becoming an adult. If that was the case, it wasn't anything Keynes wanted. Not like this.
This is amazing, Raspberry said as she looked through the telescope in the night sky. And nobody creates this?
Oh, for fuck's sake, you stupid cunt, Adachi began. The term is no one, you damn idiot. Daji, Sunset warned, and Dacia threw up her hands and walked into the house.
I'll have Mom talk to her tomorrow, Twilight suggested. You have no idea how long Ras is gonna be with. And if Daci hates her this much, it's gonna be rough for both of them. We'll talk to her in the morning as well, Arya added. Sunny and I consider Raz a friend, and that might be exaggerating things as well. The three of us have never been on as well before, so it's somewhat of a novelty. I hope she doesn't resent us for it, said I mused. She won't, Octavia insisted. Her feelings might be hurt, but she knows you two enough and vice versa. We're sisters, right? Well, Sunset asked Raspberry, you ready? Yeah, she said nervously. After the incident the other day, they decided to bring the dragonflying candle outside, where it could be tested in safer situation. They were just toward the swimming pool, with Raspberry being into interactions to thread the whole pool's worth of wire on the candle so it come to that. Okay, everyone, stand back, Sunset advised. I'm going to light the candle. Wait, Octavia cried. Given how it might have impacted me, I think I better go inside the house. It impacted you? Sunset asked. Remember, I had my episode right as the candle lost control. Maybe it was just coincidence, or maybe my fear got the better of me. But I think we better be safe than sorry. The raven-haired girl commented. Besides, Darcy would probably like some company right now, and I could talk to her that way. Good idea, Sunset suggested. They waited a few more minutes for Octavia to go back into the house as well. Everyone else okay? Sunset asked. Yeah, Twilight said, as she and Sanaa finished checking some monitoring equipment that the latter had suggested. While they weren't even going to try studying magic, much to Twilight's dismay, the youngest triplet thought that recording the incident might yield data that could help Raspberry get home. We're all clear, Sarah told her counterpart. Sunset walked over to where the candle was in the wide field behind the swimming pool area and lit the candle, with it acting as normal. Then she ended its flame flash spell, and the flame turned green, becoming an inferno once more. This time, even though it was wild and blasting with raw, untampered magic, it seemed more subdued, as if whatever energy force was tapping into was becoming more muted. Still, it was well below the controlled flame that Sunset was used to. So while she drew protective wards around it, she signaled to Raspberry to douse the flame. Raspberry did so, racing out with her human magic, scooping out a whole wire out of the pool, much to the surprise of the non-magical folks present. With that, she created a giant ball of wire directed down the magical funnel Sunset created, dousing the candle. Sunset walked over to Raspberry, who dropped down to the ground in depression. Sunset snapped her fingers, refilling the swimming pool, and went over to administer her friend's needs. I'm never getting home, am I? I'm gonna be human for the rest of my life, aren't I? Raspberry asked softly, crying to Sunset's shoulder. We made progress tonight, Raz. I know it doesn't seem like it, but we made progress. Come on, let's go in and get some sleep. The world will look better in the morning, I promise. Raspberry wiped her eyes. You promise? The words left Sunset's mouth, even before she said them. Of course, my little pony. I'll always try to keep my word. Raspberry looked at her friend. You do realize you sounded like your mother a second ago, right? Not the one here, the one back home? Sunset wasn't sure what to say to that. She just knew that she had to make her friend happy. As they all went inside indoors, it made Sunset think about another friend in her happiness. From her bedroom, she picked up her cell phone, but did the phone for the longest time, as if hold the answer. Finally, she had auto-dial for a familiar number. Oh, hi, Sonny, Pinky chirped in the area. I was just thinking about you. I know, Sunset replied, rubbing the bridge of her nose. Well, in for a patty? Look, Pinky, I know this is going to sound weird, but do you want to take me out on a date? Twilight, this isn't healthy, Spike told the alcorn. I'll eat later, Twilight said, pushing aside her favorite daisy salad and sandwich and chips. I need to figure out this new spell matrix to see if it'll work with the background resonance and air player formations. She looked at him and saw that she had hurt his feelings in the process. Spike, this is important. More important than anything I've ever done, and only I could do it. Luna's counting on me. I'll calm down for dinner and we'll go out to eat tonight. Promise. He picked up the tray dejectedly. As he was already so engrossed in her work, she never heard him say, You said that this morning. The young dragon worked himself to the bone, trying to familiarize with their new home. The ugly, crystalline castle that had popped up in the middle of the still rebuilding Ponyville. It had been a month since the T-Rex War, and Spike had gotten back after spending all that time with his parents. Returned to a destroyed hometown, old domicile gone, and a new one taking its place. On the bright side, he had his own room now, so... bonus? Right now, he had bigger concerns. Bigger concerns like the fact he returned and found that Raspberry Barrel had lost her life during the war. And that because he was just a colt, he wasn't allowed to attend the funeral. Or that something was very wrong with Princess Celestia, and by extension the son as well. It was late summer, he was already starting to wear a scarf outdoors as it was winter just about to approach. Adults wouldn't tell him what was going on. The correspondence that he was usually in charge for his sister's sake was now being teleported directly to Twilight from the others. Usually now from Princess Luna. He was confused, but more than he was worried about his sister, working on a project non-stop. He was used to that when she was in one of her study raptures. Somehow this was different in many ways. Radically so. Twilight was acting as though her actions were critical to Stevie in question or something. She wouldn't say what, nor did many of their friends. So he did what any good little gentle Drake would, and stood by his sister's side. It was what their parents had taught him, and even if he hadn't, he loved her enough to do so. Ah. You see, this is the Spike I like. Down he headed towards the kitchens. It was a chore, but now with just him and her, he wouldn't have to deal with it. Time was certain he wouldn't be alone here much longer. Not only were there rooms for each of the other girls, but for other, currently non-existent castle staff as well. In time, the place looked no different to Caroline Palace or the Imperial Palace. Wasn't sure how to react to that as well. Sir, he grew up in the former, while the Pussycats himself, he liked it with just him and Twilight and their pets. It felt more like a home. Less like the hotel Raspberry lived in, or some of the new apartment buildings that were starting to be built in the ruined section of Ponyville. He wasn't sure he could live in either of those. He just reached the bottom floor, where the kitchen was. We heard a steady drip of water echoing through the halls. Setting the uneaten food upon the nearby counter, he often searched for the sound. He found it in a room that resolved to the side of the labs, a puddle forming beneath the floor. Funny, it wasn't even where we had water pipes in the castle. He mused as he opened the door, planning to assess how bad it was before he could clean up. Instead, it met by a sudden deluge of water that blasted him from the room, carrying him in a quickly made torrent of water, dragging him from the kitchen, sopping wet and cold. But that wasn't the thing that confused him the most. The water. It was the water. He bent down and smelled it. It smells like chlorine, he said to himself. That wasn't normal. Then again, another thing was normal around here. He debated Twilight about it. Given she was so focused on whatever she was doing, probably just give him a vague answer and went back to her work. He said it wasn't worth the effort, and went out to find where the broom closet was. After all, strange water wasn't going to clean itself up.